As per reported statements, Dmitry Medvedev has issued a stark escalation warning following the Zaporizhzhia incident. He stated that if Ukraine, described as a failed state, were to destroy key sections of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, Russia could respond with symmetrical strikes on Ukrainian nuclear facilities. Medvedev cautioned that any catastrophic damage to a reactor or machine hall would trigger consequences comparable to a new Chernobyl, framing such a scenario as no less severe than the use of tactical nuclear weapons.
I have already written about this once, but I will repeat these harsh words again. It is obvious that in the event of a catastrophic destruction of the engine or reactor hall of a nuclear power plant, a new Chernobyl will come. And this is no better than the use of tactical nuclear weapons.
As per reported remarks, Medvedev emphasized that targeting nuclear infrastructure would dramatically raise the stakes of the conflict. He signaled that Russia's response would mirror the scale and nature of the threat, underscoring a doctrine of direct equivalence in retaliation. The warning positions nuclear facilities themselves at the center of deterrence, indicating that any escalation around such sites could invite a response of similar magnitude, sharply intensifying the risk environment surrounding the ongoing conflict.
The response to such actions may be a symmetrical strike on Ukrainian nuclear power plants, as well as on nuclear power plants in NATO countries involved in the conflict.
A high-stakes escalation near critical nuclear infrastructure. As per reported details, a fiber-optic guided drone struck the turbine hall of Unit 6 at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest. Russian state nuclear agency Rosatom says the impact tore a hole into the structure, but crucially, no core equipment was damaged and radiation levels remain normal. The use of fiber optic control, officials claim, indicates precision targeting rather than an accidental strike.
The entire international community can be congratulated, so to speak, as this is the first targeted attack on a nuclear power plant's core equipment, with a through-and-through explosion and damage to the turbine building.
Rosatom chief Alexei Likachov has issued a stark warning, calling the strike a crossing of not just red lines, but boundaries of common sense. According to his statement, this marks the first deliberate targeting of main equipment at a nuclear facility. He cautioned that such actions bring the world closer to a scenario that could have consequences far beyond the immediate conflict zone, potentially impacting regions outside Russia and Ukraine.
The Ukrainian armed forces repeatedly cross not just red lines, but the lines of common sense. What to expect next? Strike directly on the turbine, the reactor hall, the reactor and safety systems?
Ukrainian authorities, however, have strongly denied responsibility. Official statements maintain that Ukrainian forces operate strictly within international humanitarian law and would not target nuclear infrastructure. They further assert that no combat activity was recorded in the area at the time of the incident. This sharp divergence in narratives adds another layer of tension to an already volatile battlefield surrounding the plant. What remains undisputed is the sensitivity of the site. The Zaporizhzhia plant, under Russian control since 2022, sits close to active front lines. While safety systems remain intact for now, experts, including the IAEA, have repeatedly warned that any strike near nuclear facilities carries inherent risk. Even limited damage, as seen in this case, underscores how thin the margin for error has become in this conflict.